Hi, I'm Leone, and I want to welcome you to my brand new Coronavodcast presentation of the Bridge of Truth. It's called Navigating the Apocalypse. Now, I'm kind of doing this impromptu, haven't even advertised it, so my subscribers are sort of getting a sneak peek at what we're going to be doing here on a weekly basis. And we're just basically doing this tonight to test out the system and make sure everything is okay. And I couldn't think of anybody better to do this with than one of the very first guests that I had on my first show in the end of 2012. And interestingly enough, it was called Cosmological Guideposts for 2012. So it'll be kind of interesting to see how that ties into what's going on now. So right now, let me introduce my guest, Anthony Citro. Hey, Anthony, how you doing?
Oh, has
So,
it been really 8 years? Wow.
well, actually, I started the Bridge of Truth 10 years ago, and it took me about 2 years to get everything going. But I was first working with somebody, and he didn't work out, and then I had to build the website myself. So I've basically been learning everything as I go, and and then I met you. I think it was around the end of 2011. And that's when I met you and Stephanie, and we started to plan for this. We filmed it, I think, early in 2012,
In a
and then
garage somewhere, I remember.
it was actually in a really quite nice recording
Oh,
studio,
Security Studio.
and which is no longer there. But I recorded my first two shows there. The first one with you, and the second show I did with Joe Brennan, and he'll be a guest on my show coming up. Now, first of all, I want to mention to my viewers that I'm wearing this cap. It's Memorial Day weekend, and this cap says USS Anzio on it. Um, I'm wearing this to honor my father. He passed away 5 years ago, and he was awarded the Bronze Star during Anzio invasion. And so I thought it would be kind of nice. I won't be wearing this on a regular basis, but as a matter of fact, I've just been working on the video that I'm going to be posting, which will be basically an entire, more detailed description and introduction of navigating the apocalypse, why I called it that, and what we hope to accomplish here. But because I'm wearing the hat, I figured it makes sense for me to talk about that now. So
It's
listen,
just so different how we started and it's come full circle, and now it's in a new cycle of, the ascension and moving forward and dealing with all this stuff. It's more, it's very interesting that you're rebooting now,
yeah,
and I am too in a way.
yeah. Yeah, actually, I know we talked about like what do you want your segments to be called, and you said you want to call them Ascension Alignment updates because basically the bulk of your videos. I mean, my subscribers probably know this, but if you're coming across this video randomly, I mean, Anthony and I did probably about 2 dozen fairly substantial videos over the course of about 5 years,
It's
and
amazing.
they're all part of the Bridge of Truth, and I think one of them, a couple of them got close to 200,000 views. I mean, they were really, really popular videos. And
Yeah, people are still, commenting. I'm still answering comments, and they're still helping people, and it's great. And but at the time when we did those, they were really intense, in depth, because the ascension was upon us proper, like really tools to help people who wanted to really get into the thick of it. And now, with the advent of all this technology in terms of people doing Zoom and FaceTime, and even the Sondheim 90th birthday celebration, which was this amazing thing that was on, Zoom like this or whatever.
hmm
All these, it's a way of a lighter, sort of a brighter way of communicating, but still having some uh, depth of interaction. And so I started the Ascension Alignment updates, uh, on FaceTime and on YouTube. to help people what to do now. You know, it's 2012, it's 8 years later, and how to have a daily application of, you know, calling in the energies and all that stuff, not just the full in-depth stuff that we did back then, which is still valid if they want to do it, and how to navigate what's going on. And then you came up with this whole great new format of how to navigate the apocalypse. And so here we are again, hooking up and collaborating, you
Yeah.
know, which is great.
Yeah. Now, actually, I said that one of the things that I wanted to do was to test the live stream to see if it was actually going to the Bridge of Truth. And I'm on my Bridge of Truth channel on my phone, and I can't see this. So I'm gonna have to try to figure out why it's not here. And and like I said, if for some reason it didn't stream, I'm saving this to my hard drive, so I'll be able to post it after the fact.
Well, I've
But
always trusted you with technical stuff. You're a whiz at that. The things you, I don't think people will ever realize what it took for you to create these videos that we did. And not
yeah,
only the service you gave, but the amount of expertise is incredible, you know, and I totally, you know, I'm grateful that, you know, Source brought me to you to help me because I couldn't do it.
yeah.
You
Well, I
know,
appreciate you saying that, and
true.
it was a tremendous amount of work, but it was a part of what I felt was my raison d'être, I guess you would say.
We were all at that time, you know, who were pure and seeking, trying to help and trying to, you know, just, you know, Source put us together. And I was grateful to have that, you know, I mean, the visuals you did and the technical stuff. And then, of course, Ariel Churn, and we have to acknowledge her, the artist who created all the images for the videos, free of love and just service. It's a great, you know, it was a great accomplishment too, you know. So
Oh yeah,
all
they're all
around, it was a
really
great effort.
yeah, they're really beautiful, and I actually I couldn't do it now. I mean, I wouldn't have the time. It was I had
Yeah.
my life was structured in such a way that I was able to find the time to do it because each one of those videos took about 40 hours. So it was a
Oh,
tremendous
yeah.
amount of work to put
Well,
into it.
everything's different now. You know, we're
Yeah.
all, that's the thing.
Well,
Nothing is ever the same, you know.
well, that's it. I
Got
want
to
to
be
really
this.
kind of talk about it is different, but at the same time, where's the parallel with what was we were discussing 8 years ago? I mean, is this what we were talking about then? I mean,
Well, yeah,
was
I mean, that's my whole perspective is that it's not so much that it's different. We
yeah,
perceive it as different. It's just that it's at the next level. You know,
yeah,
we you hear talk about fifth dimensional reality, unconditional love, which is where we're headed to, where there's
mm,
no judgment, blah blah blah. Of course, we're in fourth dimensional reality now, where duality is heightened and sharpened, and so everything's in our face more and more. And so when it's in our face and in our body and in our experience, we don't see beyond that because we're dealing with it. And so it seems like, you know, it's just Trump or it's just this or it's just that. But it's really all part of the divine plan to get us to fully shed all that no longer serves and come into love. And so everything is negative is sharpened. And a lot of what I try to show people with divine rays of creation and how they are, in other words, spirit is allowing us more and more, whoever wants to really open up to consciously and with intention assist in the process where before we were in the dark, so to speak, or we did it unconsciously, those who were
mm,
holders of light. And of course, there's all different ways to approach it, as I'm sure you'll address in your show going forward. But at the end of the day, we are light, we are energy, we are ascending. So even for me, people see this quarantine as this big chaotic, dark, oh my God thing. Am I going to get the virus? Is Fauci corrupt? Is Bill Gates doing this? Is Trump? But really, I see it as a unique opportunity whereby the universe has actually put us in a position where we can't run anymore and we have to deal in our own individual ways personally before we can go back to the collective with a more loving, hopefully, approach to everything in our lives and in
yeah,
ourselves. And you either look at things glass half full or glass half empty. And part of the problem now is people are struggling with that. You know, this dark is always putting these videos out and these messages out, mainstream media, yada, yada, yada. But my whole thing is no, combat that with holding light. because you are empowered if you want to hold light, whether you do it through prayer, through bowls, sound, whatever you do. If your intention is pure and you focus more on that directly, whether you do it consciously as a light worker, a light holder, or unconsciously as a mother just trying to raise family, or a conscious business person trying to do right in business, that's still holding light, right? So we're really faced with this choice, and you hear a lot that we're in this spiritual pressure cooker, and we are in a spiritual pressure cooker. It's a really unique thing that the universe, if you see it as a bigger picture perspective and not in the fear-based, oh my God, am I going to pay my bills? Are we going to get a stimulus check? Am I going to get my unemployment? Whatever. If you don't look at it from that perspective, which is not always easy to do, I understand, and you try to see it from the higher perspective that you have a unique opportunity to manifest now a different reality. Look, for most of us in the world of big city, most normal living overall, not third world country, obviously, we're getting look, I'm getting $500 a week unemployment, 600 on top of that. I'm making more than I would make at work. I got a stimulus check, which I used to go to see my teacher in Ireland, advanced workshop. I got to stay home all day. I can sleep. I can make new videos. I can think. I can meditate. I can contemplate. I've had all this time to relax and refresh. I'm trying to look at it as a positive. Most people are, not most people, but a lot of people are saying, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, I'm going to die. I'm going to get it. I'm going to, on and on and on and on.
Yeah,
And
but
so,
one thing I want to be clear, because I don't want our viewers to misunderstand how we're representing this. I mean, there are people. I mean, we see the people that are on TV. They're doing the talk shows and all this sorts of stuff, and we are very, very fortunate to be living such an idyllic life. And for the
yeah,
largely, it's because there are people out there that are risking their lives and are doing amazing things. And an awful lot of people now aren't living the ideal life that you are talking about or that I happen to be living. Their lives are a manifestation of I won't say evil or bad, but boy, it's certainly unpleasant. What
well, you
people,
have to understand it's karma. You have to understand that people are dying anyway. People are going to die and live anyway. Things are going to happen anyway. And my whole point with, and I even argue with this people in my own spiritual group who continue to post all these stupid conspiracy theories, like, Hillary's turned into a lizard and eating babies in a pizza parlor, and Michelle Obama's a man. And I'm like, you're a spiritual light worker. Why are you posting this nonsense and feeding the dark's agenda? You may think you're helping people, but it's really not helping. So even people of light are going into fear. So in other words, yes, of course people are helping people. That's their karma. They would be doing it anyway. Of course people are dying. They would die anyway. That's their karma. The point is it brings my point even closer to home with what you're saying, is that if you are given this grace, what the fuck are you going to do with it? How are you going to hold light more or service more rather than just feeding the dark? Because
well,
spirit sort of,
actually, Anthony, I want to say that that point is actually pretty true. I mean, when you look at what the people that are being forced to stay home, a lot of them really are doing positive things. I mean,
yeah, yes,
so
yeah,
many people have taken on new missions, new voices for
even
the
sewing masks for people,
sewing masks, raising
whatever,
money,
you know,
charities. I
yeah.
mean, the privileged and are recognizing that they are privileged and are doing something with it.
But
Now,
there's always good
not
people too.
everybody is, of course,
There's
but
always
it,
good people too. But my point is that
yeah,
people are missing the bigger picture, which is source is, even though we physically live it as a 3D thing of having to pay rent, are we going to pay rent? Source is giving us a unique sacred opportunity, if we see it, to consciously, with more intention, do more than we've
yeah,
done before, because we have the time and space to do so. So there's
yeah,
always going to be people that are going to do good, and there's always people that are going to do bad. There's people that are trying to steal people's stimulus checks.
yeah.
And my unemployment got hacked. I had to get a new card because someone's trying to steal my unemployment. So I mean, there's always people that are going to be doing good and bad. But my point is if you connect more with source energy directly now that you have the opportunity to, you assist in the ascension process that's unfolding in real time. And you can do it in addition to everything you do. The thing is, most people aren't used to doing that. They always take, the over practical approach. But my point is, nothing that has worked before is working on any level, from spirituality to religion to politics to science. Everything is
Yeah.
revamping.
Well,
So
actually,
why can't your
go
yeah,
ahead.
I'm saying, why can't your connection with source revamp as well? Why
Right.
is that the one thing that people don't want to address because it's woo woo or considered weird or unreal,
Right.
when that's creating this reality to make
Yeah.
us in some fashion, in some way, whether we do it consciously or not, to become more into our light body and less into our 3D dense form or
Well,
structure.
now we're starting to get into a conversation that I was actually kind of hoping to save for the
Okay.
first official
You
broadcast.
know me, I go right there. I go right for
Well,
the
I know,
jugular.
and I know that I have to
And I
sometimes.
recognize everybody doesn't do that, so it's fine.
But not
You
only
you
that, I
direct it.
have
You
to sometimes I have to step in there just because otherwise it's
That's
20
fine.
minutes later. And that's really good. I mean, that's one of the things that I appreciate about what you're doing. But there is one thing that I do want to just mention because it's something for everyone to think about. And you kind of talked about it. And what it is we obviously, whether you want to call it karma or merely as I describe in my introductory video, it's like what you don't learn from you forced to relive. And one of the greatest worldwide issues now that people have been neglecting, and there's a tremendous amount of misinformation about, is the global climate crisis. So, but look at what's happened because the global climate crisis affects everybody. But nonetheless, people were sitting on their butts or, serving one agenda or the other. And some people were trying, but I mean, from what I understand, and I don't know if you've heard this, Anthony, but the statistic that was used in the past to say this is the point of beyond no return, I understand that we're already past that. And that's, to me, that's amazing. That means that
Well, they
it's
said
going to
11
take.
years. I mean, I think they said 11 years is the
Well,
general
that the
consensus.
person, it's based on the amount of carbon in the air, and it's measured. So it's a scientific thing. It has nothing to do with woo woo or anything. It's a measurement, and we're now past that measurement. And what to me it means is that we're going to have to be so inventive with what we do now to get back to the point where we can turn the tide and tip the balance because we're already past the point of no return. But nonetheless, even that wasn't enough to move people. But what did this virus do? This virus moved everybody. Everybody in the world was affected. People all over the world were dying. They no longer could become non participants. And I think that that's something that makes this particular moment remarkable. And that's why I decided to start, that I knew that this was the time to do this show. Because we're at a
But this
point
is
now.
why, you may be seeing it from one point of view, and we can go particulars about all the forms that it's creating, like it's global crime or Trump or whatever. But I'm seeing it from the spiritual perspective. And my
Right,
point is, people are being tasked to see it from the higher, bigger picture perspective, which is what they're stubbornly not used to doing. And when they
right,
do that, that's when things can finally shift. It's like Dr. Wayne Dyer used to say, you can't fix a problem with the same mind that created it. Or
right.
Einstein would say, if you keep doing the same thing and expecting a different result, it's insanity. And so what you just said is the virus is true. The virus was the physical form mechanism to say, finally, put a brake on everything
Yeah.
where nothing else fully worked.
And in
Climate
my
change
in
almost.
my opinion, it's a function and it's a servant or a messenger of
And
spirit.
we don't even know the
Be-
truth of how much it really is and how many deaths there are. Other things are, there's so much of that craziness going on that people are getting caught up in. And, it doesn't really matter. At the end of
well,
the day, the point is,
I'm not going to debate the
yeah,
politics of it because
no,
I'm
it's
going to
not
try
about
not to
politics.
let the bridge of truth uh, ever
It's not
really.
about, I'm not talking about politics. I'm talking about people's attachment to the dark's agenda, not about
Right,
politics. Politics is one form, religion, Hollywood, they're all forms.
right,
A belief is a thing a belief is a thing you keep thinking until you don't think it anymore. And so
right.
what's happening, which is a real problem now, and one thing I want to address here, is that people are quote unquote doing research, which is seeing, they're maybe seeing 1 or 2 videos on YouTube or reading 1 or 2 articles. And if they believe it, oh, see, I'm right. This is what's really going on. And they latch onto it. And that's an ego-based reaction that furthers the dark's agenda, because most of that is misinformation. The truth is, none of us know anything. There's a lot of good on YouTube and there's a lot of bad on YouTube. There's a lot of bad in mainstream media and there's a lot of good in mainstream media. The point is, we can no longer focus on attaching to politics or religion, Fox or MSNBC, left or right. The point is, there's so much disinformation out there is orchestrated by spirit to get us to drop the attachment to it.
But
because we're in the thick of it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, that's why.
Because we're in the thick of it. Let me finish my point.
Okay.
Because we're in the thick of it now, you can disagree, but let me finish my point. Because we're in the thick of it now, people are one way or another still attaching to it because the ego needs to find something to hold on to until it dies, until we master it and rise above it. And the only way is with love and not fear. And as I explained to a lot of people, I stopped posting that stuff, Dr. Bashar, David Icke, all that stuff, because it doesn't matter. Whether it's real or not, there's nothing I can do about it. All I can do is hold light and love and really get the message, whether you do it my way, your way, another way, as long as you're holding light and love and you're focusing 90% of your time on that and only 10% on the bullshit, that's the only way things are going to shift. Latching onto a belief of one doctor or another or one news channel or another or one is not going to solve anything. I can't go and save a children in a basement now that may be being eaten alive by somebody turned into a lizard. That's a politician, and people believe this stuff.
Doesn't matter. I don't even want to discuss that kind of thing right now. Because
but you have to understand that is where people are at now. They're in that row of fighting that impulse to go there.
Well, what I was trying to say, and I wanted to give you your opportunity to finish, but what I was trying to say is that, and what makes me really happy, my background, I mean, obviously I can do these videos and I've been in music for 30 years, but my background was in science. And to me, in all of my research, because I do research too, but I don't do research based upon what random video I see. I mean, that's kind of nice just so you can see what's going on. But I'm really happy to see how much intent and seriousness and is being put on the science, on the real data, because you can't deny that. You
can't deny facts. But even Al, even science is going through an overhaul with the quantum physics and the nanotechnology.
Right.
And I just saw a video today about the death of expertise, how because of all the social media influence and all this stuff I'm talking about, people don't trust experts anymore.
Right. Well, there's been scientific experts who have served agendas too. I mean, I'm not going to say that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But nonetheless, when you look at the numbers, as long as when you look, the nice thing about science and numbers is that they're verifiable and they can be checked. You can duplicate an experiment. See, that's one thing that speculation does not ever allow. It's like, oh, it's my opinion. But to be able to see the facts.
You still have 30% of the country that doesn't believe it, even when the facts are presented to them. That's the problem. And they vehemently don't believe it.
But you want to know, Anthony, again, like I said, what you don't learn from, you're forced to relive. That's happening now in this country. And I don't want to get into the politics of it, but people are dying. They felt that it was necessary to open up the country and get people, out, and, moving the economy. And what's happening now.
I'm not talking about politics.
But I'm saying is now.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but in other words, every time that somebody lets their own personal opinion get in charge, the truth, which is history and karma and whatever you want to say, it's bringing us back to center, and now people are dying again because they said, oh no, it's not this, it's not this, it's not this, or I can go out and run around without a mask because I can go back to church.
To me, it's a fear-based argument because there's many credible doctors that believe masks are irrelevant. There's many credible doctors that are saying that all these deaths attributed to COVID are not COVID related. I know people told me personally whose mother or aunt died that they didn't even tell her what she was dead of. They don't know. They didn't take the test, but they attributed it to COVID. So there's a lot of stuff going on that does have a political, religious, or whatever base. But the point is, none of that matters because you can't trust anything you see or read 100%. You just can't anymore. You might believe it. You might, resonate with you, and I believe that because that's the number of
You
this
know,
and
it's
that.
funny.
A lot
I'm
of
gonna
people,
actually close with this because I want to close with something that's funny, and then it's slightly political. But a friend of mine in Florida sent me this picture, and I'm looking at the picture. And it was a picture. President Trump was on one side, and Melania was on the other side, and their son was between them. And the boy was wearing a shirt that said "I'm with stupid," and the arrow was pointing at Donald Trump. And I'm looking at that and I'm going, "Oh, isn't that kind of interesting?" You know, I mean, was he aware that the kid was wearing a shirt? But
but
we
anyway,
don't
like
know.
I
We don't know who doctored that. We don't know who created that image to
of course, it's a lot of images are Photoshop.
yeah.
That's
So
another thing.
not
But
you're
I don't
true.
want to.
You're right.
But I wanted to, of
Audio, video, images,
course.
pictures. It's anything is everything can be faked now.
Well,
Somebody
the
can
point
take
I
this
wanted to
video.
make, yeah, the
Go ahead.
point I wanted to make in coming on this show was
Yeah.
I don't want to get caught up in all this. I wanted to make the point that the higher perspective, that as it, a lot of people know I do videos about the divine rays and all
Yeah.
that stuff, and how they come in and they recede and they help bring forth divine plan. And right now, we're in the midst directly of where one ray, the sixth ray, is receding, and the seventh ray of the new age is coming in. And so, all this stuff that's happening in the physical is a direct. In other words, it's meant to be. We're going through all these crazy
Right.
changes within ourselves, within our family, in every area of life. And my point is, with these essential alignment updates and the videos that I've been doing, is to help people daily practice, have a tool, a simple, easy to use spiritual tool that they can adapt
Right.
5 minutes a day or whatever they want to help them stay aligned with light consciousness. Because
Right.
at the end of the day, no matter what your belief or practice is, you're either going to hold light or you're going to hold dark. That's there's no way around that. And so the more you hold light and the less you hold dark, the more you contribute to all this crazy stuff, healing. And because part of what's going on is everything's being brought up
Well,
for
Anthony,
transparency.
why don't we pause it there because you just started to talk about the rays and why don't we I want to give you the opportunity to really get more specifically into what you know and the advice that you can give in using that, and perhaps that might be a good place to pick up when we do our
Oh,
very
sure.
first show
Well, they
on
can go
this.
to my videos. They're on your channel. They're all over. They can, go to my channel. And I just want, my point is, yes, of course, if you want to do more investigation, you can. But my point is just hold more light and less focus on the dark because there's really nothing you can do about it. But you can, in this time that God has given you to be at home, do something more than just what you did before in terms of holding light. So I just have one simple, easy way to connect with that which you are, which is source energy. And the point is now universe has opened up and we are allowed and we are more conscious and we are more able to hold consciously more light where before we weren't. And so the more you attempt that, whichever way you do it, it's fine as long as it's light, the more things will shift. Otherwise, we're still going to be in this funk of, is this real? Is this not? Am I going to die? Yada, yada, yada. So that's my point. I just want people to find ways to hold more light more often in however you do, and less dark and less fear. That's the only way things are going to change.
Right. Well, like I
Really.
said, that's why I want to continue this with our next
Sure.
episode
I'm
because
always available.
yeah, well, I mean, I really didn't even intend for this to get into anything kind of deep. Just to let people know where we are because they keep asking, and
Yeah.
just to let them know that we are back. The bridge of truth and navigating the apocalypse, and then you yourself with all the work that you do. And I didn't even really hear too much about what you've been doing in the last 5 years. So the next
Well, I
time we
took a
get together,
break a little bit because we both, and I've
yeah,
been helping a child who I love who's sick.
right,
And just, my 2 years ago, our mutual friend, who was one of my best friends, Terry Merlis, great, wonderful light work
yeah,
healer, she passed. My parents both passed within a month of her, so I had a lot to deal with. I know you had a lot to deal
Well,
with
yeah, I
your
mean,
father, and
I
I
had produced her, CD, and we had become very, very close. So,
think, we had
absolutely,
done so much work and so much service that I think Spirit made us deal with stuff and take a break. And my point is, now this whole quarantine, this is Spirit's way of pushing me back into the fray,
right,
and you, because we have this opportunity now, unique opportunity, where somebody else it'll be a different way.
yeah.
But now I thought I was done. I thought I had done all I could do. We had done all we can do. I had no intention of ever starting this work up again. To be honest with you, I do private sessions, but now
Right,
people want me to do workshops. They want me to do all these videos. So Spirit sort of pushed me,
right.
because I had all this time on my hands, to say, am I going to practice what I preach and step up and do what God has given me to try to help people as best
But
I can,
now we have
whoever
to
is
find the
listening.
form that works for the time that we're in, and I think that that's what we're doing now. And
Exactly.
I mean, I'll be honest. I mean, I love the old late night
They're still
shows, but
relevant. Our videos are still relevant.
you know, but
All that work we did, it's still there. The energy's there. It's
but
just
the, you know,
a
people have
different
become
way.
so creative with what they've had to do to be able to continue doing what they did. I mean, when Fallon, suddenly couldn't have an audience, I mean, he pretty much revolutionized the late night talk show. I mean, the other talk show, as wonderful as hosts as they are, they had no idea what to do, and in
Well, it's
an
weird to
instant.
see The View with no audience. Whoopi Goldberg every day go, hello, 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 welcome, welcome, welcome to The View. There's nobody there,
Yeah, well,
but they're
that's not one of
filming.
the shows I watch, but at any
Well,
rate,
I just use I watch it as an example.
and
But
then the technology of having these bands play together. I mean, I still want to know how they're doing that. I'm sure it's a tremendously expensive and high tech network that they have to create in order for people to sync over long distances. But at any rate, I'm so glad
yeah.
that we're back, and I maybe we'll be able to do this again next weekend. I want to hopefully resolve some of this.
Well, I just
And
want to say good luck to your new show, your new venture, and uh, it's interesting to see what all your guests will think now as well, 8 years or so later on.
yeah,
Uh, and I think it will help people, expand into what they can do now. And I'm just, as far as I'm going to keep going till Source stops me again, and because now this quarantine has pushed me into, coming back into something I thought that was done with, and
yeah,
here it's revamping in a way that I never thought possible. But
yeah,
I either I can't sit back and do nothing, because my soul won't let me do that, because Source is pushing me, given this opportunity to do something, and I have to take advantage of it. I can't
yeah,
not.
yeah.
So it's very interesting, and everybody is going through that on some level, and hopefully more people will start to see the light and lessen the dark. But yeah, it did get intense into it, because this is an intense time as well.
Yeah.
It's not an easy time.
Well,
It's a
hey,
time of
I've been
transition.
trying to wrap this up now for the last 10 minutes. So,
But okay, all right. Me, I could keep going all night.
I know, but I want to save it. I mean, I want you to think about, now that we've had this preliminary discussion. Think about what you want to talk about next, and you'll be able to direct more the
Well, it'll
what we're
probably
going
be
to be
more of
doing.
this, of how people understand the transition we're in, and from the higher perspective, and how to help it, how to understand how to live it, and how to
Right?
navigate it, which ties in from my perspective
Yeah,
of connecting with source energy more. So to go more deeper
yeah,
into that, it's what I'm going to be doing in my own videos, in all areas of life, because it'll
right.
help people like ascension
And
symptoms,
not
how to
only
deal
that,
with them. And
we're in this Zoom environment, and you have a lot of people that that if you wanted to put a group of people together to discuss a topic that we can't do in any other way except in this digital form, that's why I
sure.
did this.
Well, one thing I've always wanted to do with you was a whole forum with spirituality versus religion, and how to blend, or how what that's all about with all different people, and come
Yeah,
together and sort of have a civil. I think that's interesting, because a lot of that is more so than politics. I think is the root of what's changing and going on. People's belief systems are shifting and coming, and it's hard to deal with that. It's
yeah,
hard to let go of a belief you've held on to for lifetimes. that no longer is valid. So
Well, at any
it's
rate,
good
yes,
for
we can definitely do
topical.
that. But start thinking and about what you want to do next, and we'll try to plan something. We'll see what kind of a reaction we get to this. I want to make sure that this thing even broadcasts correctly, because if it didn't, that means I got to go back to the drawing board. But
Oh God,
yeah, and
you'll fix it. You always do.
yeah, well, I definitely have to get some new equipment because this has been a struggle. It's we're getting hit on all ends, not just with biological, but technological, and the dark manifests itself in many ways.
Oh
So,
yeah.
all right, well, Anthony, it was great to have you here as my very first guest on navigating the apocalypse. I'd like to thank everyone who's watched, and if you're coming across this down the road at some point, hopefully you will still find some wisdom here that will help you. And until then, I'm looking forward to having you come together again so we can all navigate the apocalypse.
There you go. All right. Namaste.